Well, hey, it's December it's December 1st already. I'm looking at my tattoo instead of a watch. It's December 1st, and so I'm going to do a similar thing that I did last year. So if you may or may not recall, last year I read unedited, unvarnished, like I look like shit and that's fine kind of thing. If I mess up, I mess up. I read Christmas Carol last year, and this year I wanted to do something similar, and I didn't want to read Christmas Carol again because I did that last year. So this year I am reading this wonderful piece by incredible Welsh poet Dylan Thomas, A Child's Christmas in Wales. So I'm going to do that just the same way I did it last year, which is if I look like shit, fine. If you can hear like the dryer in the background, that's cool. Or like, you know, any stepkids running around or anything like that, it's fine. It's fine. And I will read a little bit every single day from December 1st, which is today, up until Christmas or until I finish it, which, you know, if I don't finish it by Christmas, I probably will because it's kind of a short piece. But if I don't, I'm just going to continue it till I finish. And anyway, so yeah, have some fun with this, yeah? Oh, one other thing, for those of you who are my friends in the theater and in like linguistics nerd kind of situations, the Welsh accent is like one of the only accents from that part of the world, like from the British Isles, that I really just cannot get. I don't get it. I try it and it ends up sounding like some kind of West Country, or it sounds like Irish or something. Like I just can't. The Welsh is like, I'm not gonna do accents, okay? I'm just not. Sorry, I know it's such a Welsh story, but it's just not gonna be helpful if you're trying to listen to me trying to do a Welsh accent. And I have this lovely illustrated copy of Child's Christmas in Wales by one of my favorite children's book illustrators, Trina Shart Hyman. Yeah, so I may or may not decide to share illustrations with you. You'll just have to deal with it, because that's just the way it is. So, A Child's Christmas in Wales by the illustrious Dylan Thomas. It's so snowy, look at that. Day one. One Christmas was so much like another, in those years around the sea-town corner, now and out of all sound except the distant speaking of the voices I sometimes hear a moment before sleep, that I can never remember whether it was snowed for 6 days and 6 nights when I was 12, or whether it snowed for 12 days and 12 nights when I was 6. All the Christmases roll down toward the two-tongued sea like a cold and headlong moon bundling down the sky that was our street. And they stop at the rim of the ice-edged, fish-freezing waves, and I plunge my hands in the snow and I bring out whatever I can find. In goes my hand, that wool-white, bell-tongued ball of holidays resting at the rim of the carol-singing sea, and out come Mrs. Prothero and the firemen. It was on the afternoon of the day of Christmas Eve, and I was in Mrs. Prothero's garden waiting for cats with her son, Jim. It was snowing. It was always snowing at Christmas. December in my memory is white as Lapland, though there were no reindeers, but there were cats. Patient, cold, and callous, our hands wrapped in socks, we waited to snowball the cats. Sleek and long as jaguars and horrible whiskered, spitting and snarling, they would slink and sidle over the white back garden walls, and the lynx-eyed hunters, Jim and I, fur-capped and moccasined trappers from Hudson Bay off Mumbles Road, would hurl our deadly snowballs at the green of their eyes. The wise cats never appeared. We were so still, Eskimo-footed Arctic marksmen in the muffling silence of the eternal snows, eternal ever since Wednesday, that we never heard Mrs. Prothero's first cry from her igloo at the bottom of the garden, or if we heard it at all, it was to us like the far-off challenge of our enemy and prey, the neighbor's polar cat. But soon the voice grew louder. "Fire!" cried Mrs. Prothero, and she beat the dinner gong. And we ran down the garden with the snowballs in our arms toward the house, and smoke indeed was pouring out of the dining room, and the gong was bombulating, and Mrs. Prothero was announcing ruin like a Tom Crier in Pompeii. This was better than all the cats and whales standing on the wall in a row. We bounded into the house laden with snowballs and stopped at the open door of the smoke-filled room. Something was burning, all right. Perhaps it was Mr. Prothero, who always slept there after midday dinner with a newspaper over his face. But he was standing in the middle of the room saying, "A fine Christmas," and smacking at the smoke with a slipper. "Call the fire brigade," cried Mrs. Prothero as she beat the gong. "They won't be there," said Mr. Prothero. "It's Christmas." There was no fire to be seen, only clouds of smoke, and Mr. Prothero standing in the middle of them, waving his slipper as though he were conducting. "Do something," he said. And we threw all of our snowballs into the smoke. I think we missed Mr. Prothero and ran out of the house to the telephone box. "Let's call the police as well," Jim said, "and the ambulance, and Ernie Jenkins. He likes fires." But we only called the fire brigade, and soon the fire engine came, and 3 tall men in helmets brought a hose into the house, and Mr. Prothero got out just in time before they turned it on. Nobody could have had a noisier Christmas Eve, and when the firemen turned off the hose and were standing in the wet, smoky room, Jim's aunt, Miss Prothero, came downstairs and peered in at them. Jim and I waited very quietly to see what she would say to them. She said the right thing, always. She looked at the 3 tall firemen in their shining helmets, standing among the smoke and cinders and dissolving snowballs, and she said, "Would you like anything to read?" I think we should end it at that today. There we go. That's the first iteration of A Child's Christmas in Wales. I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you.